Working with nonprofit organizations is something that we do from time to time with Catalyst. It's definitely one of our areas that we do with passion and that we love to work with nonprofits. And so with that, many times nonprofit organizations have volunteers that help operate and run their actual programs and program-related events. Also, this is a component that happens a lot of times at conferences as well, especially for membership-based organizations. And so having volunteers is something that happens all the time. We have a service where we manage volunteers and we utilize the volunteers that the organization provides, or they actually advertise for the opportunity for people to volunteer their time and effort. For us, we do like to have a little bit of a process so that we know that these are reliable volunteers that we can depend on, and they are matched with their interests as well as their skills, so that it's a win-win for everyone involved. And I remember there was one particular client that they had done this event prior to working with our team. And one of the things that happened is that their volunteers were there and they did a great job. However, when it came to things like cleanup and certain tasks, they weren't quite exactly what they wanted to have happen. And one of the pain points that client mentioned was at the end of the event, those people were leaving, they were ready to go home, and she was so thankful for them coming that she didn't want to ask anyone to stay over to help clean up or break down the event, but there was so much work that was still left to be done in cleaning up that venue. That was a pain point that she mentioned to me, and we made sure that moving in with this particular event that we wouldn't have that happen again. And so one of the things that we did is we created volunteer leads where we segmented out the different types of roles that the volunteers have, and we created leads for each one of those roles. Those individuals were notified of that and asked if they were very interested in that. And of course, my client had recommendations because she's worked with many of these individuals where she recommended some of these people take those particular roles. And I was able to work with those leads to help prepare them for what the job needed to have happen, as well as the expectation of what was happening on site. And so all of the volunteers were trained prior to getting there on site for that day of. We usually have virtual trainings that take place with those volunteers, and we provide packets with what their expectations are, along with everything they need to know inside of that packet. But she was able to leave out of that space within an hour of the event being done, with the doors locked and closed, because not only did we have those leads, but we also had a volunteer schedule, which was very important. So some roles don't last for the entire event. Some roles are registration and maybe it might shut down at a certain time, or a similar role that might have to do with food or something else that has a time restriction listed on there. And you can utilize those individuals in other areas if they're still available. And so that's what we did. We shifted people to other areas so that they were able to go ahead and start helping us with the breakdown and the cleanup process, so that there wasn't a lot to do after the event is over. And this is just one of the ways that you can maximize the use of your volunteers.